The woman carried the child for 20 months, yet the child born was like a monster. It had no eyes, no ears, and not even limbs. In total, it lacked 12 organs. However, the father seemed extremely pleased because he had made a pact with a demon god before. As long as he could protect his territory from invasion, he would offer all of his son's organs to the demon god. He then forced his wife, who had just given birth, to conceive another child that night because his territory needed an heir. To ensure his wife's compliance, he ordered the midwife to throw the baby into the river. Although the midwife had done such acts frequently, she felt compassion when she saw the strong will to survive in the infant. She decided to place him in a boat, giving him a glimmer of hope. However, as she was about to leave, she was devoured by a spider-like creature behind her. Just as the creature was enjoying its meal, an old monk suddenly appeared behind it. Although he was blind, but he could sense the presence of the evil creature. Then the old monk drew his weapon and instantly split the monster into two halves. He faintly sensed something on the boat, not human nor monster, but the essence of karma. The next day, the abandoned baby happened to be discovered by a carpenter who specialized in making prosthetics. At first, he was startled by the eyeless, earless, and noseless infant, but finally he had the courage to find out what was going on. To his surprise, the baby was still alive and exhibited a strong will to live. Touched by this, the carpenter decided to save him immediately. 6 years quickly passed, and the carpenter, in order to make him appear more human, crafted prosthetic limbs and a mask for him. He named him Hayakimaru. Although he couldn't see with his eyes, he could sense the existence of life. However, when picking wildflowers by the roadside, he was suddenly attacked by a vicious wolf. Being physically weak, he could only grab the wolf's paw and dodge its attacks by shaking his head left and right. Fortunately, the carpenter noticed in time and struck the wolf on its back with an axe, scaring it away. But strange occurrences began to happen once he returned home. In the dead of night, numerous monsters would come for Hayakimaru. The carpenter knew well that these creatures were drawn by Hayakimaru's immense power within him. In order to give him the ability to protect himself, the carpenter started teaching him swordsmanship the following day. After years of training, Hayakimaru's swordsmanship grew increasingly proficient. Due to his lack of pain sensation, he never experienced an ounce of fear. Consequently, he never hesitated when slaying monsters. No matter how strong the monsters were, he could overcome them all. However, one day when he was fighting a monster, a strange thing happened. After smashing the creature's head, his prosthetic left leg started to detach, and miraculously, a real left leg began to grow in its place. It turned out that the organs stolen by the demon god could be reclaimed by Hayakimaru after slaying a certain number of monsters. Subsequently, Hayakimaru embarked on a journey to slay demons. This woman eats 903 eggs every day, and 47 women to keep her alive. The villagers are aware that she is a monster, yet they still worship her as if she were a deity. While the old man with a head 9 times larger than his body is actually a manifestation of the soul of the 777th girl devoured. However, his soul remains pure and has never harmed anyone. He often guides passers-by around the village, but the villagers want him eradicated. Are the people of this village turning black and white upside down? It all started with a boy who was being beaten up by a group of bullies. Angry Dororo picked up a stone and smashed one of the thug's eyes. They grabbed his head and pushed it into the water. Just as the boy was about to be submerged, Hayakimaru suddenly appeared on the bridge. The man scolded him to mind his own business, but Hayakimaru paid no attention and focused his gaze forward, ready to draw his sword, because he had spotted a monster in the river. Suddenly, a black, slimy creature grabbed the man's head and swallowed it in its mouth. It then proceeded to devour the remaining 2 individuals. Seeing this, Dororo wanted to escape, but the monster grabbed him before he could flee. At this point, Hayakimaru finally chose to take action. With a single stroke, he severed the monster's arm, saving Dororo. Then he rushed forward to fight with the monster. Finally, he uses the broken bridge to crush the monster to death. As Dororo helped Hayakimaru attach his prosthetic limbs, his body suddenly trembled like crazy. His face, which had been devoid of skin, miraculously started to regenerate skin. Though Dororo was frightened by this phenomenon, he overcame his fear and chose to stay by Hayakimaru's side. Being a wanderer himself, he was filled with curiosity about Hayakimaru, but Hayakimaru never paid any attention to him, because he had no hearing or sight. Whenever Hayakimaru felt hungry on their journey, he would pluck green fruits and catch a few fish to improve their meals. Accustomed to eating raw food, Hayakimaru was intercepted by Dororo. Dororo wanted Hayakimaru to experience the taste of human delicacies. So, Dororo grilled the fish. However, being devoid of the sense of taste, Hayakimaru found the grilled fish to be as flavorless as sand. Since Hayakimaru ate the fish Dororo grilled, Dororo took the opportunity to ask him to stick with him from then on. In reality, Dororo was using him to slay demons and earn lucrative rewards. The next day, Dororo brought Hayakimaru to a village where demons frequently appeared. The enthusiastic villagers, upon learning that they were demon slayers, immediately arranged a luxurious residence for them. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind extinguished the candles, and a hideous creature with a head 9 times larger than its body squeezed through the narrow door, causing Dororo to be petrified with fear. He urges Hayakimaru to kill the monster. However, in his eyes, the big-headed monster didn't seem threatening. Little did they know that the big-headed monster was sent by the demons to monitor them. Early in the morning, they were invited by the village chief to have tea. They didn't realize the mayor was a beautiful woman, but to Hayakimaru, she was a monster. He removed his prosthetic limbs, revealing his samurai sword, intending to slaughter her. However, Dororo, who was puzzled by the situation, stopped him. Before long, the commotion was heard by the villagers outside the door. They burst in and tied up both of them. Then, they were locked inside a small wooden house. Luckily, they coincidentally encountered an old monk who had a brief encounter with Hayakimaru years ago. Like Hayakimaru, he had no vision but could see souls that normal people couldn't. However, just as Dororo and the old monk were exchanging words, the lamp suddenly went out. Immediately, Hayakimaru sensed the presence of a demon and unsheathed his samurai sword, slashing at the monster in the dried well. Unexpectedly, when they crawled out of the well, they found themselves outside the village chief's room. Hayakimaru kicked the door open. He saw a blood-red soul. Subsequently, the village chief transformed into a red-eyed monster and rushed towards Hayakimaru. Just as the monster was about to be slain, the villagers suddenly released a fishing net to capture Hayakimaru, assisting the monster's escape. Helplessly, he had to cut through the fishing net and chase after them. However, just as Hayakimaru was about to catch up to the monster, it blocked him with bamboo. As it was about to devour Hayakimaru, the big-headed creature suddenly shook a bell, diverting its attention. At that moment, Hayakimaru descended from above and pierced the monster's head with a single strike. Immediately after, the village chief emerged from the monster's corpse, seeking mercy from Hayakimaru. Without hesitation, he killed her, and with the death of the village chief, the big-headed creature turned into dust, leaving behind a heap of copper coins in the soil. It turned out that these coins were from the travelers who had been eaten by the demon. Since the village people are lazy, that's why they cooperated with the monster. They used this way to kill people. With the demise of the demon, Hayakimaru regained his sense of pain. However, in the middle of the night, he regained his sense of hearing. Various sounds flooded his mind like a tidal wave.